I'm Steve, this is Classified Captures.
Am I the only one who thought aliens would have made official contact by 2026? What if Bigfoot, ghosts, and poltergeists are all simply aliens running experiments on Earth?
Why don't we take a look at the first clip?
Take this, for instance. A farmer installed a trail camera along the edge of his cornfield for a simple reason. He wanted to keep an eye on his crops and make sure wildlife was not quietly tearing through them after dark. But while reviewing the footage one night, something caught his attention almost immediately. In one of the nighttime images, a tall figure can be seen standing right in the middle of the cornfield. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss it as a scarecrow or a piece of farming equipment left behind. That explanation seems reasonable until the farmer shared another image. This second photograph was taken by the exact same trail camera during the daytime. In that image, the field is completely empty. There's no post, no scarecrow, no machinery, nothing at all that could account for what appears in the night photograph. Looking closer at the nighttime image, well, it only makes it more unsettling. Yeah, I think that's the right word. You can clearly make out what looks like a head. The rest of the figure appears covered, almost as if it's wearing a cloak or draped fabric with something resembling a wide collar around its neck. It stands tall, upright, and perfectly still, as though it's watching over the field rather than passing through it. Seeing this left the farmer unsettled. For lack of better words, he was scared. He shared this with another who uploaded it online, and as these things go, everyone had an opinion, just like a nose. One thing these opinions had in common was for the farmer to park out of the place or have a gun by his side. You've seen the clips, so what do you guys also think? People have started noticing something deeply off about their phones, and recently, 2 women came forward with experiences that left them shaken long after they ended. The first woman shared a video describing how she woke up in the middle of the night and noticed her phone screen was already glowing. She'd not touched it, no apps were open, no calls had come in. But when she focused on the screen, her body went cold. There was a man staring back at her, watching her through her own phone as if he knew the exact moment she opened her eyes. The second woman described an almost identical moment. She said she woke up after hearing strange sounds coming from her phone, like audio being picked up through the microphone. When she checked the screen, she saw a man watching her as well. Same situation, same silent presence, same feeling that someone was looking in where they did not belong. What makes this even more disturbing is the world we live in now. Nearly every home is filled with connected devices, smartphones, smart TVs pointed toward beds, smartwatches, tablets, security cameras, baby monitors. We're surrounding ourselves with technology and trust it because it has become part of our daily lives, but that trust may be misplaced. These devices can be hacked. If someone gains access, they can see you, hear what's happening around you, track your movements, and watch you inside your own home. One of the women believes the person was trying to lure her into unlocking her phone, which would have given them full access to her data. Once that happens, nothing is private anymore. With that level of access, harming someone becomes easier, or maybe it's not about harm at all. It could be people spying on strangers for darker reasons. The next time your phone lights up on its own in the middle of the night, it might be worth pausing before you brush it off as nothing. Some things are not glitches, some things are watching.
Last night, somebody was watching me while I was asleep through my telephone. Now, y'all, I sleep with my phone on the charger.
And woke up to a sound of microphones. So I thought I was still a little groggy. It happened again. Looking back, I feel like, at first I thought, okay, they had an open mic. They accidentally left their mic on, and I was able to wake up and catch them. But no, I think what they were doing, it was a man, and he was on my screen. He basically mapped into my phone. And I think what he was doing was poking me to wake me up so that I would enter my passcode and he would be able to get in and get my information.
When people talk about shadow figures, they usually describe dark shapes lingering in corners or slipping out of view behind walls and furniture. But there is another belief that comes up just as often. Some say that when a shadow figure crosses directly in front of you, especially while you're on the move, it's not random at all. It's a warning, a sign that wherever you're headed may not be safe. One man believes that's exactly what happened to him while driving toward a haunted building in a remote area. As he made his way down a quiet road, a dark figure suddenly ran across the path of his car. The surroundings were completely isolated, thick woods on both sides, no nearby houses, no street lamps, nothing that could easily explain what he'd just seen. For a moment, he couldn't process it, but after the shock passed, he kept driving toward his destination. Once he arrived, he set up cameras around the building and decided to stay the night. According to him, there was no sense of calm from the moment darkness fell. The cameras captured what appeared to be figures moving inside the house, along with strange sounds that became more intense as the hours passed. Eventually, the atmosphere grew overwhelming, and he decided he needed to leave. As he drove away, something caught his attention once more. The shadow figure had returned, now standing near the wooded area on the left side of the road. The moment he focused on it, the figure slipped deeper into the trees, almost as if it had been waiting for him to notice it. Right after that, a loud and unfamiliar sound can be heard in the footage. It startles the man so badly that he runs, and the video cuts off without warning. If shadow figures do serve as signs, well then what was he really being warned about? People online have been spiraling over something a man named Sean had been posting on his TikTok, and the reason is hard to ignore once you see it for yourself. According to Sean, his wife bought him an old CRT monitor from the 1990s, one of those bulky box-style screens most people have not seen in years. Out of curiosity, he decided to hook it up to a camera, keeping the camera live so the CRT monitor display exactly what the camera was seeing in real time. At least, well, that's what should be happening. When the camera points at the room, everything looks normal. You can clearly see objects on the walls, furniture, decorations, and all the small details you would expect to see there. But when you look at the CRT monitor showing the same feed, something's missing. The walls are completely bare. No objects, no details, just emptiness where things should be. Then it gets harder to explain. When Sean walks in front of the camera, his clothes appear one color in real life, but on the CRT monitor that color changes. The same person, same moment, two different versions of what should be identical. Sean has tested this repeatedly, walking back and forth in front of the camera again and again. Each time the results are the same. Objects vanish on the CRT screen, his clothing shifts color. The room looks like a simplified, stripped-down version of reality, as if something has been removed. Even Sean has admitted he's no longer convinced this is just a faulty monitor. He started to wonder if the screen is not glitching at all, but showing a different version of the room entirely, almost like it's peeking into another layer of the same space. If a device from the 1990s is displaying a reality that doesn't quite match our own, well, the question is not just what is broken, it's what exactly are we looking at, and which version of the room is real.
Okay, seriously, I need someone to help me out because I have no idea what's happening right now. My wife bought me like a vintage CRT monitor from the 1980s, okay? Of course, what do? I turn into a live camera feed via Camlink, but there's my things. Where's my furniture? Now wait, just watch this. This is crazy. How is that possible? There's my furniture. Where? What? The actual...
Lately, a strange discussion has been gaining traction online. Some people believe there's been a rise in witchcraft practices across the US, with claims that certain practitioners are no longer operating in hidden spaces, but blending into everyday environments where no one would think twice. And one video has become the center of that conversation. The footage comes from a grocery store security camera. In the clip, a man is seen pushing a stroller with a child inside, moving casually down an aisle. A woman stands a few feet ahead of him, her back turned as she looks over items on the shelf. Everything appears normal, until suddenly it doesn't. Without warning, the man flicks his arm toward the woman as if tossing something into the air. Nothing visible can be seen on camera, but some believe it could be a type of powder or dust. He then steps closer, closing the distance while the woman remains completely unaware. As he passes her, he appears to lightly tap her, either near her head or around her ankle, before continuing on as if nothing happened. The woman never turns around. She simply walks away, heading to another part of the store where she meets up with her sister. Later, according to her own account, she says she began to feel dizzy, uneasy, and suddenly afraid. There was a strong sense that something was wrong, though she couldn't explain why. Confusion set in, followed by an overwhelming feeling of danger. Those who believe in spiritual attacks claim this is how certain forms of black magic or witchcraft are carried out. They say the goal is influence over thoughts, emotions, finances, or decision-making, all without the victim realizing anything has happened. And unlike traditional crimes, there is no trace, no message, no transaction, no obvious cause. Whether you see this as superstition or something far more serious, the conversation itself is growing louder. Some insist these practices have existed quietly for generations. Others believe fear is doing the work on its own. Either way, awareness matters. If someone gets uncomfortably close for no clear reason, trust that instinct and step away. And if you've ever experienced something similar, your story might not be as isolated as you think. When people talk about the Appalachian Mountains, the conversation usually goes in a familiar direction. Skinwalkers, the rake, shadow figures lurking just beyond the tree line. Those stories have been told for years. But there is another presence tied to the region that almost never gets mentioned. And that silence is exactly what makes this case so unsettling. A couple who live right at the base of the Appalachian Mountains shared footage captured by a security camera in their backyard. The property backs directly into the dense woods, the kind of forest where the trees swallow the light once the sun goes down. Late one night, they began hearing strange noises coming from outside. Not the sound of an animal moving through the brush, not insects, not anything that could easily explain. Something felt off enough that they decided to check their security footage. What they saw stopped them cold. In the video, something appears to drop down near what looks like a water tank tower at the edge of the trees. At first, it's difficult to tell what it is. The shape is low to the ground, partially obscured. Then it stands up, and in that moment it becomes clear this is not an animal. It looks human. People familiar with Appalachian folklore talk about something rarely discussed. A type of humanoid said to live deep in the mountains, not a skinwalker, not a shadow figure. These beings are described as only coming down from higher elevations at night, avoiding people when possible. Locals call them ferals. According to the stories, they're dangerous. They're said to take children who wander too far or get separated. And now something matching those descriptions appears to be walking through someone's backyard, captured clearly on camera. If the legends are true, this was not meant to be seen at all. The question is not whether the footage is real. It's whether some of the oldest stories tied to the Appalachian Mountains were warnings all along. There's a man on social media who's been posting videos with a claim that sounds impossible. He says he's trapped in France in the year 2055, and according to him, there's no one else left. In his videos, he walks through grocery stores, passing by the Eiffel Tower and across other famous landmarks. Every location is completely empty. No crowds, no traffic, no signs of life, just him moving through places that should be full of people. In one clip, he shows himself buying a drink from a vending machine. It's a single Fanta. And what immediately caught people's attention is the date printed on the bottle, 2055. Even more strange, the drink appears to be a flavor that's not been released yet. He's also shown games, consoles, and video games that don't exist today, at least, well, not publicly. The details are specific, consistent, and convincing enough to make people pause. That's where the story starts to fall apart, though, or maybe become even more disturbing. If he's truly living decades in the future, how's he interacting with people on TikTok in real time? How are we able to watch his videos, leave comments, and receive responses as if nothing is different? Does that mean we're in the past with him, or is he reaching back across time in a way we don't understand? Or is there something else happening entirely, hiding behind what looks like proof? Whatever the explanation is, one thing is clear. If this is fake, it's carefully constructed, and if it's real, well, then the question is not what happened to everyone else. It's why he's the only one left to show us.
There's no way. There's just no way. Anybody with a phone going back in time or going forward in time, how do you post things on social media in the present time for people to be able to watch? It doesn't make sense, so no. I don't buy it. This is fake. End of story.
Life on Earth works the way it does because gravity holds everything in place. It keeps us grounded, keeps the oceans where they belong, and prevents the planet from turning into instant chaos. Without gravity, even briefly, nothing would stay where it should. Recently, a theory has been spreading online claiming that Earth could experience a short loss of gravity lasting about 7 seconds. What has drawn even more attention to the idea is its connection to an episode of The Simpsons. In that episode, gravity temporarily disappears and everything erupts into chaos. Some viewers have pointed out numbers shown in the episode that they believe was reference to the year 2026, which has only intensified the speculation. Adding another layer to the story, it claims that a supposed NASA initiative known as Project Anchor was created back in 2014. According to these discussions, the project was designed to prepare for or counteract a gravity-related event by stabilizing the planet during a temporary disruption. No official evidence supports this, and the entire concept remains unverified. Now that 2026 is here, some people are watching closely for signs that the theory could be real, while others dismiss it as just another internet rumor gaining traction through coincidence or imagination. The question remains, are we looking at an eerie prediction, or just another story that feels unsettling because it plays on something we depend on every second of our lives? There's this clip coming out of New York City. It was captured right in the middle of traffic in broad daylight. In the video, we see a woman standing in the street, and something about her immediately feels off. She appears to be missing one arm, and one of her legs is a metal prosthetic. She's just standing there, waving her hands, moving her body, almost dancing in the middle of the road. From the way she's acting, it doesn't seem like she's fully aware of what's going on around her. Some people say she looks like she might be on drugs or having some kind of mental episode. She's shouting, and then toward the end of the clip, things escalate even more when she spits on the street. Online reactions are all over the place. Some are convinced this is some kind of robot or advanced prosthetic experiment. Others say it's clearly a real woman, possibly homeless or mentally unwell, stuck in a very disturbing situation. Either way, it's alarming to see something like this happening in the middle of a busy city street while people are just recording from their cars. Has anyone else seen her around before? Have you ever seen that video that went viral years ago, the one people still talk about in hushed tones? It shows a man standing on a ship in the middle of the night, recording himself. Only half of his face is visible in the frame, everything else is swallowed by darkness, but if you look closely, something else is there. Behind him, slowly emerging from the shadows, is another face, pale, fixed, inhuman. It just stares straight into the camera. The moment you notice it, your eyes lock onto it, and it becomes impossible to look away. Many people who watched the clip said it genuinely shook them. Some claimed the image stayed in their minds long after the video ended. At the time, theories spread fast. Some believed the clip came from the dark web or some hidden corner of the internet. Others insisted it had to be edited. But no one ever provided a clear explanation, no source, no context. And that unanswered question is exactly what kept the video alive. Now fast forward to 2021. A Spanish TikTok dancer begins going viral. He's well known online, posts regularly, and has a large following. Everything seems normal until people start noticing something strange. His face looks almost identical to the man from the old ship video. Side-by-side comparisons begin circulating, and while nothing has ever been officially confirmed, the resemblance is difficult to ignore. Well, that raises a chilling question. Could they be the same person? And if they are, then what exactly was standing behind him on that ship that night, staring out from the dark, waiting to be seen? There are things about the world we rarely stop to think about, even when we hear them all the time. This one is one of those things. Everyone knows whales are mammals, but when you really sit with the fact, it starts to feel strange. These massive creatures live in the ocean, move with fins, and look like giant fish, yet biologically, they're closer to us than they are to anything swimming beside them. So what actually makes a whale a mammal? Well, one detail explains a lot. Scientists discovered that the bones inside a whale's fins are structured almost exactly like a human arm. Hidden beneath the surface are bones that resemble a shoulder, an elbow, a wrist, and even 5 distinct fingers. It's essentially a hand, reshaped over time for life in the ocean. That means whales are moving through the sea with what are typically human-style hands tucked inside their fins. It's evolution leaving behind a familiar blueprint in a completely different environment. Strange, unexpected, and oddly fascinating. And yes, as funny as it sounds, that bone structure technically means a whale has everything it needs to give you the middle finger. Haha, nature has a strange sense of humor. Did you already know this, or is this one of those facts that changes how you look at the ocean just a little?
Whenever I see blue whales coming out of the water, their fin at the top is always floppy like that. So how do they how do they give anybody the finger in that environment? How do they do it? I don't know.
A man shared an experience that still haunts him to this day. It began one night as he lay in bed. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed something standing silently in the room. He says it felt alive, almost purposeful, drawing his attention toward the basement. The next thing he knew, he opened his eyes to find himself standing at the basement door. He'd sleepwalked there without any memory of moving. But that night was only the beginning. Alone in the house, strange noises started echoing from inside the walls, scratches, shifts, and murmurs that seemed to circle back to the basement. He searched the entire house but saw nothing. Then the whispers started, low, muffled, and chilling. "You are okay with me, then you will die." Whatever it was, a shadow person, a spirit, or something beyond explanation, it had one relentless focus, the basement. But what waits down there? What lies hidden in the darkness, patient and unmoving, yet fully aware of him? Something watches, and it's inviting him closer.
I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the fuck? This has been the third morning in a row.
This story comes from Brazil. A man was diving near a series of ocean caves when something unusual caught his eye beneath the surface. From above, 3 glowing shapes were clearly visible in the water. One carried a greenish hue, another glowed blue, and together they blended into an eerie wash of color that didn't belong in the open sea. It was strange enough to stop him in his tracks. Drawn by curiosity, he decided to dive down and get a closer look, and that's when things took a disturbing turn. As he swam deeper into the cave system, the source of the lights vanished. They were no objects, no equipment, nothing physical at all. Instead, the glow seemed to come from the water itself. No matter where he moved, the lights were never in front of him, only around him, as if the ocean were closing in. Even now, there's no clear explanation for what he witnessed. Some believe it could be a rare form of bioluminescence. Others suggest advanced underwater technology hidden far from public knowledge. And some are convinced the answer lies far beyond this world. Whatever it was, it did not want to be found.
Que aparecían 3 cosas abajo del mar ahí, que se ven como que si fueran luz. Me vamos acercando. ¿Están viendo? Mira.
Someone stumbled across a massive footprint deep in the woods, and the more you look at it, the stranger it becomes. The print is enormous, easily the length of a grown human arm, long, stretched, and unmistakably shaped like a foot. Naturally, whispers of Bigfoot started spreading. But think about this. If a Bigfoot's foot is really that long, then whatever left this mark is far bigger than the creatures people usually report. Some have tried to brush it off as human, but what kind of human leaves a footprint that size? A giant? Someone wearing some kind of strange tool or device? Well, the details in the print make it even harder to dismiss. You can see distinct toe impressions, depth and weight pressed deep into the soil. This is not a random prank stamped into the mud. At least the uploader doesn't think so. But that leaves us wondering, if it's not a prank, well, then what exactly are we dealing with here? Someone in California recently shared footage of what appears to be a ball of fire dropping straight out of the sky. The clip spread fast, and almost immediately explanations followed. Meteor experts say events like this are common. Dozens of fiery objects enter Earth's atmosphere every day, burning up long before they ever reach the ground. And most of the time, no one notices. But that explanation doesn't fit right with everyone. If this is so ordinary, why does it suddenly feel impossible to ignore? Why are people in completely different places capturing the same fiery streaks on camera at the same time? Is this just the result of everyone carrying a phone, or is something above us starting to change? Because watching fire fall from the sky does not feel routine, and if this is normal, well, it raises a far more unsettling thought. What else have we been missing until now? A parent was pulling into her driveway when she glanced up at an upstairs window. Her children were standing there, looking down at her. At first, nothing felt out of place. And then she looked again. Standing directly behind the kids was something else. In the window, just inches behind them, was a dark, humanoid figure. Its body appeared completely black with eyes that caught the light, glowing in a way that resembled the whites of human eyes. The shape seemed to have short hair and a form that almost looked feminine. The most unsettling detail is that the children showed no sign of noticing anything behind them. The image has disturbed many people who've seen it. Some believe it could be nothing more than a shadow, a trick of lighting, or someone else in the house captured at the wrong moment. Others point out that with modern AI and editing tools, images like this can easily be altered or staged. And then there are those who believe it may be something far more unsettling, what some have begun calling the ghost nanny. Personally, what do you see when you look at that window? A harmless illusion, or someone watching over those children, or something watching over those children from the shadows? Okay, let me ask you something. When you think of the deadliest animals in the world, what comes to mind? Lions, sharks, snakes? Most people imagine large predators or venomous creatures. But what if the animals that truly kill the most are not the ones we usually fear? When we talk about the deadliest creatures, we're not talking about size, strength, or ferocity. We're talking about body count, the number of human lives claimed each year. And when you look at the numbers, the list becomes unexpectedly chilling. At number 10, lions are responsible for around 200 deaths a year. Hippos follow with about 500. Elephants cause roughly 600. Crocodiles are linked to around 1,000. Scorpions jump higher with around 8,300 deaths annually. Assassin bugs are associated with roughly 10,000 deaths. Then there are dogs, animals many of us keep in our homes, responsible for around 59,000 deaths every year. Snakes come next, claiming an estimated 138,000 lives annually. Then comes number 2, humans. Violence and conflict caused by humans account for roughly 400,000 deaths every year. One of the deadliest creatures on Earth is us. As if that's not a surprise. And at number 1, topping every other threat, are mosquitoes. Tiny, almost invisible insects responsible for around 700,000 deaths every year, carrying diseases we cannot see coming. It's strange, almost unsettling to realize that the creatures we fear the most are not always the ones that are truly dangerous. And knowing that humans rank so high on this list, well, how does that change the way you look at the real threats on this planet?
Personally, I think humans should be at the top spot. At the end of the day, we're vermin. We kill everything, including our own planet, so... yeah, I think we're the most dangerous creature on Earth via none.
A woman was at work when she got a call from her teenage sons who were home alone. Their voices were shaken. Something was wrong. According to the boys, they heard a loud thud, followed by the sound of glass shattering somewhere in the house. Panic quickly set in. There were 3 of them in the home, and suddenly fear outweighed caution. Their mother told them to lock the doors and stay put, but curiosity and fear got the better of them. Instead of staying in one room, they began moving through the house, trying to see what had caused the noise. One of the boys recorded everything on his phone as they searched. At one point, they suddenly ran upstairs. At the time, the others didn't understand why. Later, when they reviewed the footage, something chilling became clear. A shadowy figure moves through the kitchen, climbing toward the stairs as if it has a purpose. Only one of the boys had seen it at the time. When their mother arrived, she called the police. Officers searched the house thoroughly. No broken glass, no forced entry, no damage. Nothing that could explain the thud, the shattering, or the shadow captured on camera. Some suggest it could have been a shadow caused by ordinary objects, furniture, clothing, or anything in the house catching the light in just the wrong way, but others wonder if there is something far more deliberate, something unseen moving silently through the house that day. Here's another strange encounter that left a woman rattled in the middle of the night. She was suddenly woken up by the sound of a man screaming outside her apartment complex. Naturally, she got up and looked out of her window to investigate. Outside, in the park below, she saw a figure, presumably the man she heard, standing unnaturally still. It was late at night. The person was standing straight, his arms stiffly by his sides, and the creepiest part is he seemed to be facing directly at her apartment. While she was focused on this eerie figure, something else happened. She heard a noise coming from inside her closet. Startled, she opened it, and an object immediately fell out. Well, that was enough for her. She bolted from the apartment, grabbed the keys, and headed outside. I know you're thinking, why is she going outside? Now here's where things get even weirder. When she pans the camera back toward her room from outside, you can see a figure moving inside. Someone else walking down her stairs. What could this be? Was this just two strange events happening at the same time? Or are we looking at some sort of entity? It's hard to say, but the combination of the man outside and the figure inside is beyond chilling. What do you think is going on here? Could these two events be connected? This photo was taken by a group of friends on a hike in Chile. Like anyone would, they gathered together, smiling and enjoying the moment for a group photograph. Everyone seemed happy, but when they got back and started sharing the photo, they noticed something unsettling. Take a close look at the space between the two women on the left. In that small gap between their heads, what is that? When they enhanced the photo to get a closer look, they were shocked by what they saw. A strange face peeking through the tiny space. This eerie face left everyone in disbelief. What could it be? Is there some mysterious figure in the background? Something paranormal? A fan attended a concert of Till Lindemann, the lead singer of a popular band called Rammstein, back in 2017. Everything seemed like a typical performance until something unexpected happened. As he was singing on stage, his eyes suddenly appeared to switch to reptilian, or at least that's what the footage seemed to show. This video was posted online and many people immediately thought it was fake or edited, but others, intrigued by the possibility, went back to the original concert footage to watch it again, and there it was, right in front of them. His eyes, which looked completely normal, suddenly shifted. It's almost as if for a brief moment they turned reptilian before switching back again. Now, whether this was just a trick of the lights, a camera glitch, or something more mysterious, people are still debating. Take a look and decide for yourself. Did something supernatural happen here, or was it just an illusion? In this footage, you can see trees being felled by what appears to be some sort of advanced technology, often referred to as a laser cutter or direct energy weapon, DEW for short. Instead of traditional chainsaws or machinery, the trees are cut with extreme precision, almost as if they were sliced cleanly by a laser beam. The DEW technology, while typically associated with military or industrial uses, is rumored to be a futuristic tool capable of emitting concentrated energy to cut through solid materials like trees, steel, or even rocks. If this is indeed a laser cutter, it represents an astonishing leap in tech, allowing for cleaner, faster, and more efficient tree cutting. In this home surveillance clip, you can see a room with 2 dolls sitting on a cabinet and a cat positioned right in front of them, almost as if it's fixated on the dolls. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a dark figure seems to leap from the smaller doll. The cat jumps back in shock, clearly startled by what it saw, or maybe sensed. Dolls have always been a tricky subject for me. After Annabelle and Chucky, I think it's safe to say I've had my fill of creepy doll stories. But it's not just the movies. There are so many real-life tales of possessed or haunted dolls that keep the unsettling vibe alive. And after seeing this footage, I can't help but feel that same uneasiness. It seems the cat saw the figure, but what could this figure be? In this next footage, we have another unusual encounter involving what seems to be a canine. The video shows a man driving home late after work, taking a shortcut through the woods. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a creature leaps onto the windshield of his car before quickly jumping off again. It appears that the creature was running when it collided with the vehicle, and it was quite a close call. As we slow down the footage, you can see distinct features, paws, and a tail. At first glance, it looks like it could be a wolf or some other kind of animal. Whatever it was, it certainly startled the driver, and it's a miracle that the car didn't sustain any damage from the impact. What do you think that was?
Все, она, блядь. Ёб твою мать. Ой, кошмар какой.
This video was shared from China, showing a line of cars parked by a retaining wall. One of the car owners drives away just in time, sensing something wrong with the wall. As time passes, you can see the wall start to bulge slightly, and then, slowly, it collapses. The wall gives way, sending trees, soil, and debris spilling over the parked cars. There had been heavy rains in the area, and it seems the wall's drainage system wasn't effective, causing the soil to become waterlogged and weakening the structure. Fortunately, no one was nearby when the disaster struck. Not sure the insurance company is going to be too happy about this one, though.
Все, она, блядь. Ёб твою мать. Ой, кошмар какой.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I found, it was live streaming, and then I found this, that's like I found this bone, and it looks like a hip bone of a human, and it looks like it's been cut off. Mika, leave. And that looks like the bit that you put a leg into.
In this unsettling footage, a woman is visibly distressed and even in tears as she discovers what appears to be part of a human hip bone lying on the ground. The bone looks like it's been cut, which only adds to the eerie nature of the find. Her reaction, trembling and crying, suggests that she believed it to be real, which raises serious concerns. What could have happened? There are a lot of fake human beings out there, but the woman's genuine fear and emotional response make this situation particularly alarming. If the bone is real, it could indicate something far more sinister, and authorities would need to be notified immediately to investigate. The authenticity of the bone remains uncertain, but the possibility that it could be real is disturbing. What are your thoughts? Children are often known for their vivid imaginations, and many people believe they are more sensitive to spirits or entities that adults may otherwise overlook. In this particular case, a mother and a daughter were sitting outside facing a group of trees when a daughter suddenly pointed and said there was a person with goggles in the tree. Let's take a look. Do you see anything there? I've examined the footage closely, but honestly, I'm still not sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. There's definitely something that seems off about the area, like there could be a figure blending into the surroundings. I shared the footage with Julius and Aaron for their opinions. Julius says he doesn't see anything unusual, but Aaron claims there's definitely someone or something there. What about you? Can you spot anything in the trees? When you watch superhero movies with characters wielding incredible powers, it's hard not to wonder if something like that exists in reality. Could there be people with extraordinary abilities hidden amongst us? Well, here's something to fuel that thought. A security camera positioned outside a home captured a bizarre and supernatural event in broad daylight. In the footage, you see a man standing in the middle of a neighborhood street. His arms are stretched wide and he begins to slowly rotate. What's strange is that as he rotates, a powerful wind starts to form around him, spiraling into what looks like a miniature tornado with him at its center. The clip cuts off before anything else can be seen, but the rumors that follow are just as mysterious. Apparently, after this strange occurrence, the man vanishes never to be seen again. No one knew who he was, where he came from, or where he went. It's as if he just vanished into thin air. So what do you think? Could this be evidence of a real-life superhuman, or was it just a wild coincidence? There's been a lot of chatter about how scientists might have the ability to create fake clouds and even fake natural disasters. This brings us to the recent and mysterious death of billionaire Mike Lynch, which occurred on August the 19th, 2024. Lynch died on his billion-dollar yacht after it was reportedly capsized by a tornado that many people now suspect wasn't a natural occurrence. Lynch was in the midst of developing groundbreaking technology that could have revolutionized the industry. At the same time, he was embroiled in a significant legal battle. The circumstances of his death have raised eyebrows, especially when it was revealed that radar footage from the area was mysteriously missing. This has led to speculation that powerful elites, who some believe control global events, might have orchestrated the so-called tornado accident. The idea that humans could now have the capability to create natural disasters is truly terrifying. It raises serious questions about the events we've been attributing to accidents or natural causes. If this technology exists, it suggests that some of these so-called natural disasters might not be as natural as we have been led to believe.
What the fuck is that? What is that? Yeah, what's that? What is that?
What do you do when you're out in the woods and spot something strange and potentially alien? Well, if you asked me before we watched the clip, I would have said run, but not these brave lads. They decided to investigate. They notice there's something strange moving in the bushes, and instead of retreating, they get closer while laughing and set their cameras. Once their camera is set in place, they try to find the creature, and, well, let's just say the few seconds we see it point to the fact that there is not anything from our planet. See those hands? They couldn't belong to any land animal we know of. This has led to different theories. Some believe it's alien, while some think it's a previously unknown cryptid. You guys see the clip? Where would you put this one? When you're told to be aware of your surroundings, it's not just to pester you, it's for your own safety. Take a look at this shocking footage. A home security camera set up outside captures a truly bizarre and nerve-wracking encounter. In the video, a girl is sitting outside with her legs crossed, completely absorbed in her phone, typing away. I'm sure she has her AirPods on, completely oblivious to what's happening around her. Suddenly, a bear walks right up to her and sniffs her feet. Unbelievably, she doesn't notice the massive creature standing inches away from her. Fortunately, after a moment of curiosity, the bear simply walks away without harming her. According to the details shared, it was already dark and the camera was in night vision mode, which probably explains how she missed such a large animal approaching. But still, to be so unaware while a bear is right there, she is incredibly lucky. A beach day with friends took a bizarre turn when one of them stumbled upon something out of the ordinary. As they were digging in the sand, perhaps building sandcastles or looking for unique shells, they found this strange creature. It was lying face down in the sand, naked, with a blue humanoid figure. Its spine was covered in tiny spikes, and its skin had a shiny, almost slick appearance. At first glance, it looked like the creature might be dead, but then it started to move its head. This is where things get really unsettling. The creature has 2 arms and 2 legs, making it very different from any sea creature like a fish, mermaid, or siren offspring. So what exactly could this be? We'll let you take the swing at this one. Scientists seem to be pushing boundaries now more than ever, and this latest development is no exception. In Edinburgh, some researchers have created ice cream. Yes, ice cream made from plastic waste. They claim it's a form of recycling, using plastic materials to create something edible. But the big question is, how safe is this really? Sure, it may sound innovative in terms of sustainability, but when we start consuming plastic in any form, it raises serious health concerns. Plastic is known to contain harmful chemicals, and whilst they may argue it's safe, the long-term effects are still unknown. Could this lead to health complications or even more dangerous outcomes down the line? It's unsettling to think in the pursuit of recycling, we might be crossing into dangerous territory. Is this truly a solution to waste, or are we heading towards a future filled with unintended health risks? Personally, I've been searching for research papers on this innovation, and I'm yet to find any. Hopefully, this is a hoax and nowhere near the truth. What we're looking at here, in this footage, a hand places a strange object next to a bottle of water, and in a matter of moments, the water turns red. It's almost surreal, like some kind of chemical reaction or something far more mysterious. Now, what is this object? It doesn't look like anything you'd find in a science lab. It actually resembles some sort of ancient artifact, weathered with engravings or markings that give off an eerie vibe. Could this be a case of a radioactive reaction, or is it something more supernatural? I'm not entirely sure, but the transformation of the water from clear to deep red is enough to make anyone curious. What do you think this object could be? An ancient relic with hidden powers? Some kind of experiment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Next, I came across this trippy image, and it's been causing quite the debate online. Some people are saying it's a baby, while others are convinced it's a dog. It's one of those pictures that messes with your perception, and people have even started drawing sketches based on what they think it is. Some drew a baby, while others drew a dog. It's an optical illusion where your mind might switch between different interpretations depending on how you look at it. So what do you see when you look at it? A baby or a dog? A TikTok user shared a strange and unsettling video captured by the Ring camera on their front door. The footage shows a very tall figure, completely covered in what looks like a black cloth or blanket, moving around the front porch. The figure is so shrouded that you can't see its face or body at first. But then, as the figure shifts, the cloth slips a bit, revealing something disturbing. A bald head with large eyes. The eyes are strange, almost reptilian. What makes it even more bizarre is how the eyelids move. One eyelid blinks up and down, but there's another movement, a second eyelid that blinks sideways, which is definitely not something you see in humans. According to the user's account, the creature was massive, standing taller than the doorframe, which was about 8 feet. Its height and appearance gave off an undeniably alien-like vibe. While the figure didn't try to enter the house, the encounter left people divided. Some believe this was an extraterrestrial being lurking outside the user's home, while others argue that it could be an elaborate prank using AI or even advanced special effects. What do you think? Next, we've got security footage that captured something truly astonishing. The video shows a black creature with white stripes walking past someone's house. Out of nowhere, the creature transforms into a man crouching down. As he stands up, he's wearing a black shirt and pants, and the footage cuts off right there. What a bizarre yet intriguing sight. The transformation is so clear that it leaves you wondering if it's real or if the footage has been edited. Could this be evidence of a real-life shapeshifter, or is there another explanation? The person who shared this footage believes it's a UFO sending some kind of signal in the sky. Now in the footage, there's a bright light hovering and moving through the sky, leaving behind a white trail that seems to form a pattern. As you watch closely, the light creates a perfect circle in the sky, and the moment the circle is completed, the light suddenly darts off, disappearing from view. What could this mean? It's definitely mysterious. Some speculate that the circle could be a form of communication, like a signal or marker from a craft. Others think it might just be a plane, drone, or other man-made object performing maneuvers. However, the way it draws a precise circle before quickly flying off does give it an eerie, calculated feel, fueling UFO theories. What do you think? Appalachian Mountains, which are famous for their strange and eerie encounters, and this one certainly adds to the mystery. In this footage, the man captures a strange light appearing on the ground, not in the sky but in the grass of his backyard, which is bordered by thick woods. The light is unusual because it flickers and then vanishes. The fact that it's on the ground and not coming from a known source like a house or a vehicle makes it even more eerie. The Appalachian region has a long history of ghostly sightings, unexplained lights, and mysterious sounds coming from deep within the forests. Could this be from some kind of entity? Lights like this have often been associated with paranormal phenomena, from spirits to UFOs, or even folklore creatures like will-o'-the-wisps, which are said to lead people astray in the woods of the strange puzzle. So clips have been coming from across the globe featuring tiny reflective lights in the atmosphere. The clips have come in from places in the USA, Mexico, and even places like Brazil. Although slightly different, all the clips have one thing in common. These things suddenly appear in the sky for some minutes before they're no longer seen. This has led some to conclude that this is the result of a secret government project. While that sounds interesting, Aaron has a different take. He doubts governments around the world would be working together on a single piece of technology. He thinks that would only happen if the world was ending. Aaron believes that what we are seeing could be an alien mothership in our atmosphere cloaking itself. He thinks that the cloaking technology doesn't always work well, which is why we see those lights. I know it's quite the stretch, but what do you guys think? This video was shared by a man who experienced a truly bizarre encounter right in his own home, and the most chilling part, it was all captured on his security camera. In the video, you can see him walk in and casually hang his jacket on the staircase. Everything seems normal as he heads to the side room, only to come back out moments later with a bottle of water in hand. But then, something utterly inexplicable happens. Out of nowhere, a dark mass appears, hovering in the air around him. The shadowy figure seems to defy the laws of physics as it floats closer, almost as if it's watching him. Suddenly, the man is lifted off his feet, carried by this mysterious force, and pulled back into the very room he just came from. Yeah, you heard that right. The man was actually floating. This strange phenomenon has left many viewers divided. Some are convinced this is a genuine paranormal event, while others believe it's a clever hoax, an eerie trick of video editing. But what do you make of it? This was recorded and sent in by a driver who noticed something very unusual. From the clip, we can tell the person is driving home during a cloudy sunset. It wasn't too dark, but all of a sudden, a bright orb appears in the sky. From this orb, what looked like the shadow of an angel began to emerge. The figure had wings, arms outstretched, and the wings seemed to flap behind it as it floated in the sky. This was captured by the car's dash cam, but the exact location remains unknown. What do you make of this? Was it a natural phenomenon playing tricks on the eye, or could it be something more mysterious, an angelic sign perhaps? A man shared some truly strange footage online that left everyone scratching their heads. He was by a lake when something bizarre started happening. Water began gushing out of the lake, almost like a fountain. But here's the eerie part. There was no mechanism controlling it, no fountain set up, nothing that should have caused the water to spout like that. Even weirder, the gushing water didn't just stay in one spot. It moved across the lake's surface as though it had a life of its own. The footage was unsettling, leaving viewers wondering what could possibly cause such a phenomenon. Is this some rare natural occurrence? Could there be an underground geyser at work? What are your thoughts? A man was out for an evening walk when he spotted something unusual in the sky. He noticed a formation of strange orbs arranged in a triangular shape. The orbs hovered silently for a few moments, creating an eerie and mesmerizing sight. Then, just as mysteriously as they appeared, the orbs vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. What could these orbs have been? Were they drones, an aircraft formation, or something more otherworldly? Such sightings often spark debates, with some people attributing them to secret military operations, while others believe they might be evidence of extraterrestrial activity. What do you think these mysterious orbs were? Here we have another strange artifact that was found in Egypt. It's a turquoise-colored object shaped like a car but with 4 legs instead of tires and a head on top. Oddly enough, the head looks like Homer Simpson, which is really strange. It's making people wonder, what could this be? Is it possible that ancient civilizations had advanced technology we don't know about? Could this be evidence that they have some form of vehicle back then? Or maybe it's just an artistic representation of something we don't fully understand. Could it be a coincidence? Or is there more to this? In this footage, a man is standing by the riverbank, and while the water appears calm, there are strange ripples forming at the edge. The rest of the water looks undisturbed, which makes the ripples even more mysterious. The ripples could be caused by something moving just beneath the surface, maybe a fish, some other aquatic creature, or even an unseen underwater current. However, the fact that only the edge of the water is affected raises questions. It could also suggest something lurking just out of sight, slowly disturbing the water. Humans can definitely be weird and unpredictable, but this scene is on another level. Take a look at this and tell me what's going on here. You've got a group of people standing by the side of a path, all facing the trees, and they're just standing there, doing absolutely nothing. To add to the strange vibe, there's another man on the opposite side also standing still and facing the trees. No movement, no interaction, just eerie stillness. It almost feels like a glitch in reality, like these people are NPCs, non-playing characters, in a video game, frozen or going through some bizarre script. Could this be some odd coordinated behavior, NPCs, or just really weird people doing weird things for absolutely no reason? What's going on in the waters of Columbus? The man behind the camera shows his 2 containers. One had a fish in it, and the other, initially containing a fish and a snail, now has something unsettling. Instead of the fish and snail, tiny creatures are swimming around, which the man claims he never put there. He describes them as extremely small fish-like organisms. According to him, he had changed the water in the second container with tap water. The next day, the fish was gone, the snail was just an empty shell, and these mysterious tiny creatures had appeared. He believes that these creatures were in the tap water and somehow ate his fish and snail. If this is happening in Columbus, it raises serious questions about the tap water. Is something lurking in the water supply, or could it be a bizarre and isolated incident? Well, many in the paranormal community are not amused. They point out these strange and tiny creatures the man is describing are shrimps. They also mention they probably hitched a ride from one of his purchases. Another mentions he's just lying for views. Another in Columbus, Ohio, called him out for lying as well. I can go on, but it's clear no one believes him. So what do you also think? This footage is something you'd expect to see in a sci-fi movie, but it's real. A driver was casually parked by the side of the road when he noticed something utterly bizarre. On a nearby structure, perched in plain sight, was an insect. But this wasn't your typical bug. This creature was huge, almost the size of a dog. Yes, you heard that right. A dog-sized insect. Now, insects by nature aren't supposed to grow to this size, so this is where things get interested. We've heard stories of mutated creatures, strange anomalies, and even undiscovered species lurking in isolated regions. Could this be one of them, or could it be something far more mysterious? Perhaps it's a creature that wandered into our dimension through some unseen gateway, an insect from another world or time. What do you think, though? Could this be some sort of undiscovered giant species, or could there be some more bizarre, even paranormal explanation for this massive insect sighting? This brings to mind this clip which I shared recently featuring an encounter with a being that's not readily visible. Unlike the cat clip, however, the being here whispers to the lady and startles her. Do you think there's something causing all these spirits to make contact with our world these odd hours that seem to show up? Aaron speaks of a possible convergence between our world and the spirit world, but that sounds too much like something from a horror movie than it sounds like something in real life. What do you guys think? With all the various UFO sightings, it's hard not to wonder why we still don't have a definitive explanation or solid proof of extraterrestrial life. There have been no live alien encounters or irrefutable evidence. This man has put forth a theory that offers 3 reasons for this mystery. Take a look.
3 big problems for me with any search for life, which includes UFOs all the way to fossils on Mars, is that aliens have 3 unique properties as a hypothesis. One is they have essentially unbounded explanatory capability. The second one would be unbounded avoidance capacity. And finally, the third one is that we have incomplete physical understanding of the universe.
His theories make sense. First, he suggests that we simply don't have the capacity to fully understand their existence yet. The concept of extraterrestrial life might be beyond our current scientific or cognitive abilities. Second, he believes that aliens can choose when and how to reveal themselves, meaning that they decide what we see or don't see. And lastly, he points out that we still lack so much information about the universe itself. There's so much we don't know, and that ignorance limits our ability to comprehend what we might be witnessing. It's an interesting take. What do you think? Do these reasons make sense to you?
That's a challenge. Those 3 things are really, really difficult in terms of experimental design for a scientist to work around.
This Trailcam image was shared by a man claiming to capture a Bigfoot. Take a look at the body proportions. It's undeniably intriguing. However, unlike the typical Bigfoot sightings we've seen, this creature doesn't have the distinct domed head, and its body size is noticeably smaller than the massive figures we usually associate with Bigfoot. Julius believes this could be AI generated, dismissing the image as digitally altered. Meanwhile, Aaron suggests it might just be a smaller Bigfoot or perhaps a juvenile version. The details are still quite mysterious. What do you think could be this real encounter with a small Bigfoot, or are we looking at a clever manipulation? This Erie train track security footage has been circulating online, leaving many people unsettled. In the dead of night, the camera captured something truly chilling: ghostly entities appearing along the tracks. 3 translucent, human-shaped figures materialized, 2 on the left side of the track and 1 on the right. What makes this footage even more disturbing is that these ghostly apparitions seem to be interacting with one another, as if engaged in some kind of silent conversation. Their movements were faint but undeniable, and they lingered at the tracks, oblivious to the camera. It raises questions. Were these restless spirits trapped in a moment of their past, tied to a tragic event on these tracks? A group of teenagers were at a park when one of them spotted something strange flying around. At first glance, you'd probably think it was just a bunch of white butterflies or birds, but when you take a closer look, it doesn't seem like that's the case. This thing appears to be a strange creature, long with multiple wings flapping about. It's an odd sight, almost like something out of a sci-fi movie. Could this be some sort of alien life form, or maybe a new species we've never seen before? Share your thoughts. Dogs are said to be highly sensitive to things we can't see or hear. Some believe they can even sense the presence of spirits, and our next footage seems to back that up. The man filming is investigating the strange behavior of his dog. He comes home late at night, usually around midnight, and settles in for the night. But like clockwork, at exactly 2 a.m., his dog would start to howl. This wasn't just barking, it was an eerie, drawn-out howl that would continue for a while before stopping on its own. This left him frustrated and curious, so the man set up a camera to see what was causing his dog to act in this way. And what he captured is chilling. At exactly 2 a.m., as the howling begins, you can see something strange at the edge of the building in the dark. A shadowy figure, almost like an apparition, floats by in the distance. The timing of it all is what really makes this unsettling. The dog seemed to know that something was out there, something we might not easily see ourselves. Could this be proof that dogs really do sense spirits? Take a look at this fascinating artifact recovered in Egypt. It's a carving of a person that appears to be etched into stone. But here's where it gets really intriguing. As you turn the carving, the figure seems to change its position, creating a multi-dimensional effect. It looks like the carving exists in multiple dimensions, which gives it a very trippy and almost surreal appearance. Many believe that ancient Egypt has access to some kind of advanced technology, enabling them to create artifacts that continue to baffle us today. Could this be an example of such technology? What do you think? Moving on from the dry and dusty scenery, we visit one that's purely aquatic, that is made up of water. In the clip, we see a young man climbing into the boat after perhaps swimming or fishing in the water. Not sure why they were filming though, but judging by his body language, this isn't the first time he's done something like this. As we keep watching though, we notice something rather unusual behind him. It looks like a hand, and we're not sure who or what it belongs to. From what we can tell, however, they couldn't and shouldn't qualify as human hands. They appear to be webbed, which means it belongs to something that lives in the water. Seeing this, some in the paranormal community wanted to believe this belonged to either a mermaid or a siren. Given we can only see half of an arm, however, there's not much to go on. Some also think this has got to be fake, and it looks like the boys may have just recorded this for their 5 minutes of fame. While that's not impossible, there's also the possibility that this might be genuine footage. What do you think? Look at this magnificent sunset. It's absolutely breathtaking. The warm hues of orange and pink paint the sky as the sun descends toward the horizon. But if you pay attention, there's something quite strange. While the sun is glowing brilliantly in the sky, casting its final rays of light, there's this dark line stretching across the sky, almost like a shadow. It extends from the sun itself and runs all the way to the back. It shouldn't be there. How is it possible for the sun, the source of all light, to be casting such a shadow? A dog owner and a partner shared an emotional experience during a visit to her partner's late father's residence one evening. As they stood in front of the house with their cute little dog, something truly heartwarming and unusual occurred. The dog began to leap in the air as though it was playing with someone they couldn't see. You know how dogs sometimes lift their front legs and tap on your legs when they're excited to see you? That's exactly what this dog was doing, but no one was there. Seeing this, the couple became emotional. The timing felt significant since the father had passed away a year earlier and his memorial was coming up soon. They firmly believed that the dog was seeing the spirit of their late father, who had come to greet them outside the house. It seemed to them that the dog recognized his presence even though they couldn't see him.
شنو فيه؟ يما وإيش قاعد يصير؟
A woman shared this video she took while hiking near a waterfall. In the video, from a distance, you can see another woman in a pink dress. She seems to be swaying in different poses. It's unclear whether she's dancing or performing some sort of ritual. She continues this for a while, and then, at the end, she moves to the edge of the rock and falls forward into the large flowing waterfall. There's no information about whether she was okay, under the influence of something, or even what exactly was happening. We don't even know how far the fall was, whether it was a short drop or a long, dangerous drop. What do you think could have been going on here? Have you ever wondered how animals communicate verbally, especially bees, with all the buzzing? Well, one curious man decided to experiment with this idea. He took 2 plastic cups, coiled the insides with wire, and joined the bottoms together, creating a sort of makeshift communication device. With this setup, he found a bee minding its own business on the ground. He carefully covered the bee with one end of the cup. Now, instead of hearing the typical buzzing sound you'd expect, what emerged from the other end of the cup was something quite strange, a tiny, almost human-like voice mumbling. It was hard to make out the words, but the sound was eerily similar to human speech, just in a much smaller and distinct form. How is this possible? Could it be that bees have a way of communicating that we haven't fully understood, or was this some kind of auditory illusion created by the makeshift device? I must add that most of the reactions from this clip were laughter, but what if? Just what if? A man was casually walking by a shrine admiring the different statues displayed when something eerie caught his eye. Among the statues, there was one in particular, this blue one that seemed off. At first glance, it appeared to be just another old stone statue, likely worn by time. But then, as the man moved around it, he noticed something disturbing. The statue's pupils were moving. Yes, the eyes seemed to be following him, tracking his every move as he walked around, even he went behind it. It was as if this inanimate object had somehow come to life, watching him, focused on him in the most unsettling way. This was no modern statue with high-tech features or senses. It was clearly an ancient piece crafted long ago, with no apparent mechanism that could explain the movement of its eyes. Yet they were those cold stone pupils, eerily following him, creating a chilling sensation. Can anyone explain this? A woman had a chilling experience in her new home one night. She woke up to the unsettling sight of a tote bag that was hanging on a door handle, swaying back and forth. That alone is strange, but things took a creepier turn. Books from her shelf by the door started to fall one after the other. The bag continued to swing, and more books tumbled, which scared her. Just when she thought it couldn't get any weirder, the bag stopped swinging and she felt a sense of calm. Until something else happened. Suddenly, a bright light started flashing outside her door. It flickered for a while, adding to the eerie vibe until the footage abruptly ended. Now, you know what I always say about moving into a new place. Do your research. This house seems to have something very unusual going on. Could it be haunted? It sure looks that way to me. What do you think? Does this feel like more than just a coincidence?
A lifetime of eating raw fish left this poor gentleman with this level of parasites throughout his entire body. Folks, you're not going to get rid of stuff like this, so eat the right things.
What this man is holding is a scan of another man's body, and if you take a closer look, you'll notice something truly disturbing. These white lines scattered throughout the image. Believe it or not, these are worms. Yes, worms infesting his body after consuming raw fish over a prolonged period. The man had been a fan of eating raw fish, likely enjoying sushi or sashimi regularly, and over time this led to a severe parasitic infection. The worms managed to infiltrate his body, spreading internally to the point where they appeared all throughout his skin. It's a terrifying reminder of what can happen when parasites go unchecked. Even the doctor who reviewed the case expressed concern, saying that removing all the worms might be impossible due to the extent of the infestation. The worms had taken over much of the man's internal system that it was unclear how they could safely extract every last one. This type of parasitic infection, often caused by consuming improperly prepared raw seafood, highlights the risks that come with not cooking food thoroughly. So for all the sushi lovers out there, while sushi can be delicious and enjoyable, it's important to be extra cautious. Make sure you're getting your fish from reputable places that take great care in ensuring the food is parasite-free, because as this shocking case shows, the consequences can be life-altering and downright horrifying.
A lifetime of eating raw fish left this poor gentleman with this level of parasites throughout his entire body. Folks, you're not going to get rid of stuff like this, so eat the right things.
Someone stumbled upon this fascinating tree deep in the forest, and as you can see, there's clear, fresh water gushing out from its trunk. This sight is undeniably odd, especially considering the surrounding environment looks dry and there hasn't been any rain for quite some time. So what could this possibly be that's going on here? Well, it turns out this isn't just any ordinary tree. It's a Terminalia tomentosa, known for its unique ability to store water in its trunk. This tree can release water even during dry spells, acting as a natural reservoir. It's quite amazing how nature can create such a system, with trees like these helping maintain life even in the driest conditions. But imagine stumbling upon something like this without knowing the science behind it. It would feel like the tree itself was alive, offering a mysterious gift from within. Wouldn't that be an eerie yet magical moment in the middle of a forest? A resident of the Pacific Northwest shared some eerie footage he captured during a nighttime walk, and it's stirring up a lot of conversations. In the video, you can see 4 faint lights moving in the dark sky. They seem to float effortlessly with an almost ghostly quality. As he followed the movement of one of these lights, it began to disperse, and the more he tracked it, the stranger it got. It looked like he was disappearing into thin air, almost like it was becoming invisible. The way the lights moved, silently and mysteriously, definitely gives off that extraterrestrial vibe. There's no clear explanation for what these lights were, and the way they vanished without a trace just adds to the mystery. Could this be some sort of advanced technology, or are we looking at cloaked UFOs? This video was shared by a hiker who was trekking through New River Gorge in West Virginia when she stumbled upon this massive structure. At first glance, it looks like a mountain, but when you really take a closer look, you can see the unusual formation. It seems almost impossible for this to be a natural occurrence. There's even what appears to be an enormous gateway, hinting that this might have been a colossal structure built from rock. Even more intriguing, large footprints were found on the structure itself. Some are debating whether this is simply a natural rock formation, but just look closely at the symmetry and detail. Could something huge have lived here and built this long ago?
Are you giving Daddy his tools?
For this next clip, well, I have no words, just take a look. Do you think the little girl would have really stabbed her dad? Could it be a case of not knowing what she was doing, or was she briefly possessed by something or someone? Share your thoughts.
Are you giving Daddy his tools?
The economy we once knew has drastically changed, and this video breaks it down in a way that really hits home. Just look at how this man explains it.
Movie Home Alone in 1990, Kevin McAllister gets a bunch of groceries that cost $19. A woman in Chicago bought the same things in 2023 and it went up to $72. But you know what people aren't talking about? The income. In 1990, Kevin spent $19 and the median household income was around $40,000. Fast forward to 2022, the groceries basically doubled and so did the income. So that makes sense. But then if you hop just 12 more months, and let's be generous because this is Chicago, this is one grocery store, that doesn't represent all of America. Let's bring this down to even $62 to be a little fair here. That's still a 1.4 times increase on the groceries. So if income would have kept up with these groceries, the average American family should be bringing in $113,000 a year, not 81. And how funny is this? Look at the housing prices. The same thing. There's a pattern. In 1990, the average home was $78,000, median household income $40,000, and you only needed $21,000 to qualify for this house in the 90s. Fast forward to today, the average home sits at $412,000 in this country. The median household income is $81,000. And guess what you need to earn to qualify for this house? $115,000. It's the exact same thing as the groceries because everything in this country in the past 3 years has literally gone up anywhere from 20 to 60% except the income.
It's insane when you think about it. Groceries, housing, and just about everything we buy has skyrocketed in price due to inflation. Yet wages haven't kept up. The cost of living has far outpaced our income, and people are feeling the squeeze like never before. So how are we supposed to survive in this kind of economy, or rather, how do you survive? Any tips you can share?
And guess what you need to earn to qualify for this house? $115,000. It's the exact same thing as the groceries because everything in this country in the past 3 years has literally gone up anywhere from 20 to 60% except the income.
This footage comes from another doorbell camera. The homeowner was reviewing the footage when he noticed something strange. A woman was approaching the glass door and seemed to be looking inside as if trying to see if someone was home. However, what happens next is what really stands out. Every few seconds, the woman suddenly and violently shakes her head, almost as if she was possessed or in some kind of trance. The movements were sharp and aggressive, not something you'd expect from someone casually peeking in her house. Then, without saying a word, she turned her attention directly to the camera. For a while, she just stares into the lens, her head still twitching with those bizarre movements. After some time, she left as quietly and strangely as she arrived, never speaking or attempted to explain her actions. The homeowner was left baffled and disturbed by the encounter. Was this woman under some sort of influence? Was she mentally unwell? Or could she be possessed? Take a look at this clip. At first glance, it seems like the head of a bird, right? But watch what happens as the camera zooms in. See that? Instead of feathers, it's actually a combination of toys and random objects, all arranged to create the illusion of a bird's head. Now let's check out the next one. Here, it looks like a bird perched on a fence, but as we get closer, it's also made of small toys wired together. This is such a unique and fascinating type of art. It creates these stunning illusions from afar, and as you look closer, you see the hidden details.
Never seen this a day in my life. It's still alive.
Someone bought a pack of leafy greens from the grocery store, and guess what? It came with a live frog inside. How on earth did that happen? There have been plenty of bizarre cases involving our food, but finding live animals in it, oh, that's just a new level of weirdness. You have to wonder, is this some kind of prank, or did this little guy just hitch a ride from the farm? Either way, it's unsettling. If things like this keep happening, we might need to start growing our food just to be safe. Imagine opening a bag of salad and getting a surprise like that. This really makes you question the quality control process. How did the frog make it through all the stages of packaging without anyone noticing? For what it's worth, this might be an indicator that it's natural and organic. Do you believe our world is an illusion? Well, the man speaking in our next clip believes so. Listen.
We live largely in a world of illusions. And in a sense, as we have a physical existence now, all the elements that make it up, all the habits that we have, all the institutions we maintain, the entertainment we choose, the ideas of education we keep, all of these are part of what might be called the obscuration of ignorance, and they are part of the negative individual magnetic field.
He talks about how we live in a negative individual magnetic field that causes us to react to negative factors which eventually become the death of us. Basically, the things around us and the systems we've adopted are nothing more than illusions that are leading to our impending doom. Do you share his sentiments?
This magnetic field, being negative, perpetuates itself from within itself. And little by little, the individual who has gradually become more and more vicious finds that the viciousness increases, until finally he reaches a point where he must change or lose the values of the incarnations through which he has passed.
Close enough, buddy. Nope.
Animals are fascinating to observe, but it's best to admire them from a distance, especially when they're in the wild, and even more so if the creature is as massive as an elk. This story proves why that's so important. A man found himself face to face with an elk while out in the swamps of Maine. He began filming the majestic animal as it stood there, staring at him. The elk occasionally turned its head, sizing him up. At one point, the massive creature even attempted to step toward the man, but the man would speak up, perhaps hoping to stop the elk from getting any closer. You can hear a bit of nervousness in his voice. Then, without warning, the elk charged toward him and the clip abruptly ends. Now, elks are enormous animals. While they aren't carnivorous, they can still cause serious harm when they feel threatened or become aggressive. They have sheer size and power on their side, which can be dangerous if they charge. So if you ever find yourself in their territory, it's best to give them plenty of personal space, respect their habitat to avoid dangerous situations like this one.
Close enough, buddy. Nope.
If you look at the bowing of the frontal bone, it's not flattened, so it's likely that this is the result of cranial deformation.
So it is quite possible that this individual was born with this elongated.
Yes, this individual was born with a skull structure exactly like this.
Imagine coming across something like this while carrying out an archaeological excavation. It would be mind-blowing, right? Well, that's exactly how the person who uploaded this clip said he felt when he came across this. If you're like me and confused about what exactly is playing on your screen, allow me to explain what I found out after several minutes of my confusion. It turns out that the individual who uploaded this actually discovered this skeleton, and while it's humanoid, it's not exactly human. It does have an elongated skull, which they discovered to have been natural and not modified in an artificial way. Critically looking at the clip, am I the only one who thinks that it looks like it has extra bones and parts that you wouldn't normally see in a human? What's more, it's actually ginormous, or does it just look that way? I'm tempted to share my thoughts, but decided I would leave it up to you guys what you think we're dealing with here.
If you look at the bowing of the frontal bone, it's not flattened, so it's likely that this is the result of cranial deformation.
So it is quite possible that this individual was born with this elongated.
Yes, this individual was born with a skull structure exactly like this.
Moving on from that, we've got this footage that comes from a deep-sea dive in the Maldives, capturing a heart-stopping moment. A man was diving when a tiger shark suddenly swam toward him, mistaking the diver's shiny regulator for a fish. The shark bit down on the regulator, holding onto it for a moment. Fortunately, after shaking it briefly, the shark let go and swam off. The diver remained unharmed, but it was undeniably a terrifying encounter. This man was incredibly lucky to escape unscathed, considering how powerful and unpredictable tiger sharks can be. Still considering adding diving to your bucket list next year? I'm certainly not. A group of individuals inside a building noticed something truly unsettling on their cams. This is the same thing that you're seeing on your screen. If you pay attention, you should see it too. There's a dark, shadowy figure moving unnaturally in the clip. The mysterious mass appeared near the lower floors, gliding effortlessly around the windows. Its movement was unusually smooth and eerily fluid. Its form didn't resemble a human or any known creature, leaving onlookers both horrified and mystified. The figure's appearance and movement have led to numerous speculations. The most obvious and popular is that it's a paranormal entity like a shadow person or even a demonic presence. Can we prove any of these? No? But take a good look. What do you think?
Because I can freaking hear it.
There it is. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I'm getting chills. I quit.
And it moves fast.
Wow.
A farmer in El Salvador shared a story that's been stirring up a lot of debate. Late one night, his dog started barking uncontrollably. He rushed to the window to check, but said he saw nothing unusual. The next morning, he decided to review the footage from his farm security cameras, and what he found left him shaken. On the feed, the dogs can be seen reacting to something. One of them even looks like it's chasing after an intruder. But when you follow the dog's focus closely, there's a faint, invisible figure running across the property. It moves like a human, but its body is transparent like a ghost. Some people believe this is proof of entities sharing our world that we simply can't see with the naked eye, while others suggest a more technological explanation that it's perhaps some kind of experimental cloaking device being used by an intruder. But if that's true, then what was someone with access to such advanced tech doing on a small farm in El Salvador? Sometimes the most unusual inventions are born out of strong emotions. Growing up in Taiwan, a young woman named Chen explained how challenging authority was seen as deeply disrespectful. One day during a disagreement in class, Chen felt so frustrated and angry that she cried. But instead of letting those tears represent weakness, she decided to turn them into something powerful. So she invented a device that collects tears, rapidly freezing them in just 20 seconds using carbon dioxide, and then fires them back through a spring-loaded launcher. It's a strange mix of science and symbolism, and the teacher who made her cry was impressed by the creativity and ended up supporting her work. This is a rather unique approach to let out some steam, don't you think?
Sasquatch, guys. The big fella. Oh my god. This is crazy.
Yes, more Bigfoot footage. We can never get enough Bigfoot footage. This clip, however, rubs me the wrong way. You know, like it's not authentic. I ran it by some members of the team, and despite attempting it to be convincing with the gait, fur, and body features, many of my team members think it's just a guy in a suit. In fact, comments under the original post say the same thing. You've seen the clip, so what's your opinions?
That's Sasquatch, guys. The big fella.
A man claimed to have spotted something unusual floating in the sky while he was out walking. Startled by what he saw, he quickly pulled out his gun and began firing at it, determined to bring it down. The footage shows him shooting repeatedly, but despite his efforts, the object didn't seem to react or show any signs of being hit. It hovered steadily in the sky, almost as if it was taunting him. The video ends before we see whether he managed to land the shot or if the mysterious object disappeared altogether. While this might be a serious matter for the one recording, many individuals found it funny. Despite the teasing, some did think he got very close. So what do you think? Did he get it, or at least land a few shots? Could it have been a drone or UFO, or was this simply an overreaction to something entirely explainable? Let's hear your thoughts. There's this strange magic trick that's been circulating online, and to this day, no one can fully explain it. Take a look at this footage. A group of friends are hanging out at night having some drinks when one of them decides to pull out this bizarre trick. He tells another man to hold out his index finger. Then, using only his thumb and index finger, he grips it lightly. Nothing unusual. So far, everyone else is gathered around watching curiously. Look at the shadow on the ground. At first, it mimics their movements perfectly, just like you'd expect. But then the man is asked to pull his finger away. Watch carefully how the real hand releases instantly, but the shadow lags, moving with a strange delay. The entire group immediately freaks out, scattering in shock. Now, was this just some clever illusion, maybe a camera trick or something paranormal that revealed itself in the shadow world? What do you think?
Shit, أنا هشده. تعرف أنا شو ساوي بسدود. أحس جد ثلاثة في طريق طقس. واحد شو ثلاثة.
A group of hunters were camped out at a spot in the woods where strange things began to happen. According to them, they started hearing noises of branches breaking, something moving around the tree line, and then rocks were being thrown in their direction. They assumed it had to be a bear, but then again, bears don't throw stones. One of the men pulled out his phone to record as the group scanned the trees. That's when, from behind a cluster of trees, a figure suddenly shifted. It looked crouched low, watching them, but then it stood up. The figure was tall, massive, and covered in dark fur. It lingered for only a moment before bolting into the woods, leaving the hunters shaken. The footage is shaky and blurred because of their panic, but when slowed down, you can clearly make out the outline of something humanoid. The hunters are convinced they weren't dealing with a bear or any known animal. Many who've watched the clip agree that this might have been an encounter with Bigfoot itself.
Thing earlier? He got some hits there. He's been trolling out there. Des, is that a bear? Get your camera. Come here. I can't see it. Can you see it? I don't see anything. Oh,
look at the size of that thing!
Oh, dude, that's not a bear. That's not a bear. That's not a bear.
This clip comes from the aftermath of Hurricane Helena, which hit southeastern United States in late September 2024. A woman who lived in one of the areas affected decided to take a walk in her neighborhood. This is when she noticed the foul stench coming from some of the debris. She gets closer to the area that seems to smell like something's rotting. That's when she sees what looks like a memorial with flowers on it. That's heartbreaking, but definitely not strange. That's not to say nothing strange happened, because some seconds in, a voice comes from the rubble. She misses it and is driven away from the place by the smell. In fact, she vomits. Playing the clip back later, the voice is noticed. This leaves us with questions, lots of questions. Whose voice was that? Was it from the makeshift grave? Did it come from a man seeking help, not knowing he'd already died? Bizarre, I know, but with the numerous reports of death in the area, it shouldn't be too surprising, should it? In different parts of the world, beliefs, rituals, and taboos often carry an air of mystery for outsiders. Now take a moment to check out this intriguing footage. A man is seen standing at a doorway, his back turned to the camera. However, as the camera pans upwards, it becomes apparent that he has no head. Moments later, a woman approaches him from inside the room carrying a large bowl of an unknown substance. She begins to apply it to his chest and downward in deliberate strokes, all while letting out eerie wailing sounds. In some Asian cultures, there are tales of headless people who return home. These headless beings are deceased individuals who come back to their homes primarily to seek closure before moving on to the next world. Since we have no context for this footage, we aren't sure if it depicts a similar situation. What do you think is happening here? A woman was sitting in the living room with her toddler when she noticed the little girl staring at the staircase. At first, it seemed normal. Kids space out all the time. But then the girl pointed and told her mom about the man at the stairs who was scaring her. The mother pulled out her phone and began recording. In the video, nothing unusual appears at the staircase that would explain the child's reaction, but the toddler insists that someone is there. Some people dismiss it as just a child's imagination, but many believe otherwise. Children are often said to be more sensitive to energies and presences than adults can see. So, was this just a child's active imagination, or was the girl seeing something her mother simply couldn't?
What did you see?
Monkey.
Where's the man? Where?
Man.
Show Mama where's the man. Ria, show Mama where's the man.
Point.
Where's nobody there?
Point. Point.
Is he on the stairs? Is he standing there?
Yes.
Where?
Now, if you don't know this girl, well, then maybe you've been on the safer side of the internet, and that's good. Her name is Lil Tay. Since she was just 9 years old, she went viral online for flashing stacks of cash, luxury cars, and claiming to be the youngest flexer alive. Now fast forward to today. She's just turned 18 and immediately announced her debut on OnlyFans. Within 3 hours of going live, she's made over $1 million. But here's where it gets dark. She admitted that men had been pre-ordering her content since she was as young as 12, long before she was even legal. Yes, in today's world, OnlyFans is often seen as just another way to make a living, but think about this. A child who grew up flaunting wealth online is now being consumed by an audience that's been waiting for her to turn 18. That's unsettling. What does this say about the culture we've created online and the people consuming this kind of content? Because, let's be real, this doesn't feel right at all.
Already know what the going on. Lil Tay's dropping the youngest link of the century. Mark your calendars tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST.
Just in case you were wondering what's happening here, well, don't. I'll shed some light in a jiffy. It's Florida man, and he strikes again in the heart of New York City. And yes, just for clarity's sake, that's a man throwing furniture off the top of a building. We're not sure why, but according to his brother, he'd been acting delusional and paranoid days prior to this incident. While this was a cause for concern, he didn't expect things to escalate to this point. Mental health is a serious thing many of us take for granted. Luckily, no serious injuries were recorded. If you live in a busy place like New York City, statistically, you're bound to run into situations and people like this once in a while. One thing you'll want to do is always walk around carefully, and don't forget to look up because, well, they apparently love to throw furniture from tall buildings. I wanted to attribute behavior like this to paranormal entities, but there's nothing to tie it in here. Take care of your mental health, okay? The last thing we want is for you to end up in a situation like this. You can only judge what appears in the footage, and in this video, it clearly looks like a creature standing upright on its hind legs. The movement and shape are not exaggerated in the way many artificial videos tend to be. Instead, it appears steady, balanced, and strangely natural in how it stands. You can hear the person filming whisper that if they'd come across this online, they would have assumed it was created digitally. Yet there is no obvious distortion, no visible flaw that immediately reveals it as a computer-made. Some believe it could still be edited or generated footage, others suggest it may be a person in a costume staged as a prank, and then there are those who think it looks too controlled, too lifelike for either explanation.
This is horrible. If I was watching this in a video, I'd think it was AI. This is horrible. So when you watch this footage, what do you think you're really seeing? Anyway, with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for watching.
Are there clips you want to feature in our next episode? Well, please send them over to classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our analysis and share it with the rest of the world. We can even give you credit if you want.
My name's Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Now, you know what? That's all for today, so I'll see you in the next one.